क्लास 9 हिस्ट्री का चैप्टर नंबर 2 सोशलिज्म इन यूरोप एंड रशियन रेवोल्यूशन। इस चैप्टर के आज हम क्वेश्चन आंसर सॉल्व करेंगे। इस चैप्टर के टोटल 6 क्वेश्चन हैं, जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं स्क्रीन के ऊपर। हम वन बाय वन इसको डिस्कस करेंगे। So first question है, what were the social, economic and political conditions in Russia before 1905? 1905 से पहले रशिया की कंडीशंस कैसी थी? सोशल, इकोनॉमिक एंड पॉलिटिकल। सबसे पहले हम सोशल कंडीशन डिस्कस करेंगे। मोस्ट पीपल वर पुअर, पीजेंट्स। serfdom ended in 1861, but peasants still paid heavy dues and had very small land. Society was unequal. Nobles and church enjoyed privileges. Russia had many nationalities. Non-Russians faced discrimination. Economic condition. Russia was late to industrialize. A small number of big factories in cities like Petrograd and Moscow. Workers had very long hours and low wages, non-legal unions, bad housing. Agriculture was backward and often faced famines. Then political conditions. Absolute rule of the Tsar, no real parliament, censorship, secret police, okhrana, no civil rights. Any protest was crushed. Then next question 2. In what ways was the working population in Russia different from other countries in Europe before 1917? Russia had a very small industrial working class and a huge peasant majority. About 80% क्या थे? Peasants थे. Many workers were first generation migrants from villages and kept ties with them commons. Working conditions were harsher, longer hours, sticker factory rules, union, mostly illegals, frequent strikes, a large share of women and child labor in urban factories, overcrowded barracks-style housing. In Western Europe, industry and unions were most developed and workers had some political rights. In Russia, almost none. Next question. Why did this Tsarist autocracy collapse in 1917? World War I disasters, huge defeats, food and fuel shortages, soaring prices, economic breakdown in cities, bread queues, strikes, loss of faith in the Tsar. He dismissed the Duma, relied on corrupt court circles. Peasant anger over land, soldiers mutinied and joined protests. The February Revolution toppled the Tsar, and the weak provisional government, which kept Russia in the war, was overthrown by the October Revolution. Next question. Make two lists, one with the main events and effects of the February Revolution and the other with the main events and effects of the October Revolution. Write a paragraph on who are involved in each, who were the leaders, and what was the impact of each on Soviet history. So, first February Revolution, March 1917, Petrograd. Events: Women's Day, bread protest, mass strikes, troops refused to fire and mutinied. Duma formed a provisional committee. Petrograd Soviet formed. The Tsar abdicated. Effects: End of monarchy. Political prisoners freed. Freedom of speech and press. But dual power. Provisional government vs Soviets. War continued. Land issue unresolved. Unrest stayed. October Revolution, October-November 1917. Events: Bolsheviks won majority in Soviets. Lenin's April thesis. After the Kornilov affair, the provisional government weakened. Red Guard seized key points. Winter Palace taken. Ministers arrested. Effects: Bolshevik government decrees on peace and land. Nationalization began. Civil war soon started. Russia left World War I. One-party rule emerged. Who was involved and impact? February. Workers, women, soldiers, no single leader. Spontaneous uprising. Liberals and moderate socialists led the provisional government. October, led by Lenin and Trotsky, with Bolshevik workers, soldiers, and sailors. Impact on Soviet history created the first socialist state, started planned economy and later collectivization, inspired communist movements worldwide. Next question. What were the main changes brought about by the Bolsheviks immediately after the October Revolution? Decree on land. Landlord estates taken land given to peasants. Decree on peace called for an immediate truce, later treaty to exist World War One. Workers' control in factories, 8-hour day, wages and workplace rules changed. Banks and big industries nationalized. Church land seized, titles and ranks abolished. Equality for nationalists announced. Cheka secret polls set up to protect the new regime. Elections to a constitutional assembly were held, but when it opposed them, the Bolsheviks dissolved it. Next question. Write a few lines to show that you know about it. Kulaks, the Duma, women workers between 1900 and 1930, the liberals, Stalin's collectivization program. First Kulaks, well-off peasants who owned more land, animals than others. Later, Stalin labeled many as kulaks and targeted them during collectivization. The Duma, Russian parliament, set up after the 1905 revolution. It had limited powers. The Tsar could dismiss it, which he often did. Women workers, large part of the urban workforce, especially in textiles, paid less than men. Long hours, poor housing, they joined its strikes. Women's Day 1970 sparked February Revolution. Under the Bolsheviks, some legal gains came, divorce, maternity benefits, but daily life stayed hard. The liberals, middle class reformers, who wanted a constitutional monarchy and civil rights, not a socialist revolution. Parties included the Cadets. Stalin's collectivization program, late 1920 and 1930s, policies to merge peasant farms into collective farms and state farms to boost grain output and control the countryside. Forced requisitions, persecution, deportations of kulaks, and widespread resistance, and a severe famine in some regions.